Welcome everybody to Rev Talk. Again, I've got the giggles, and it's just that everything that's moving around now is just awkward. I got a phone call when we started it last time. I scribbled my notes. I can't remember what I'm saying. So I'm going to go with the flow. And one of the things we were talking about is that is triggering us is, why do all our friends, family, neighbors always know or want to tell us how to do something that we love or we're enjoying in doing it? They can tell you, oh, you have to do it this way, or you should be doing it this way. And it always triggers us. So there's various examples where this happens. But as I was thinking, I think it has to do with us setting our boundaries and stopping the people from explaining. But as I was telling Reverend Kim, was most of our lessons right now on human design and the energies has to do with boundaries, and all of us are working on it right now. So they must flow in together. So let's discuss that and see why it triggers it, because I'm sure it triggers other people if they're doing something and someone tells them how to do it.
And I think the thing is, we're so used to, at least I know I am, especially with family, we're so used to, my family is just blurting things out. What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. Well, you should do it this way. Well,
and you've done it that way for years, but they still think
it works for me. The other thing is, I didn't ask. And so when somebody, and lately, and I'm sure the energies are pushing this out here, what I'm recognizing is I have very little tolerance for anybody just butting in and saying something when I didn't ask. My tolerance has dropped to almost zero for that. It's like, and I get triggered, and you're absolutely right. The boundaries are for me that to just, either speak up or just not deal with them anymore. I have found with my family, there's a whole list of things that I no longer bring up because I know what will be triggered. And it's almost like being set up.
It's funny that you said that, because it's exactly right. I find that I have zero tolerance, and also I would rather wait for them or ask them, what do you think?
Right.
Instead of being told we're going to do this, this, and this. And I've stopped giving advice when I know for a fact they're doing things wrong from experience. I let them do it anyway. For example, Ray and I were putting a rocker together, and I'm a rule follower, and I follow the instructions, and I know that previous lies. So I bite my tongue, and he's got the whole thing put together before he screwed it in. And we're screws extra, and he can't figure out where. I go, well, A said to do this, B said to do that, and you're already at E. It's kind of like a Lego puzzle. You're putting it together, you miss that one little piece. Oh, it's still standing. It's okay. But there's protocol in place, and each individual has their role to play in that. So why can't others realize that and just be happy for them?
Well, for me, it signals a sign of, it's a lack of respect.
We did bring that up, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a lack of respect, in my opinion, and the way I view it. If you respect somebody, and I try very hard to respect everyone that I meet, because this is their journey, it's what they're doing. Am I human? Yes. Do I make mistakes? Yes. I try very hard to let them explain and wait for them to ask. Now there are times when I do get triggered and I blurt something out, and I usually regret it afterwards, you know, so I'm getting better at not just, you know, spewing unless, you know, it's somebody that I'm really comfortable with and I just want to rant.
Yeah.
But for me, it shows it shows a lack of respect for the other person when you think you know better than they do how they should do something. That's arrogant. That's just arrogant.
You mentioned, you know, the steps we're trying to do is not give our advice and let them make their journey. And it just dawned on me, this is what we're here. We're learning all that. And we're actually doing it now
Right.
to where we realize when we're doing it that we're on the right path. And then you have somebody bombard you and think they know better. And it just, you know, okay, we've been doing this for years and we want to figure out what's going on. So it's exciting. That brought very excitement to me, realizing we're at a different level now. We're working with different things.
Right.
And we're able to see where the others are struggling to catch up and want to take over because they're not there yet. And I'm looking at it in an energetic way versus an actual example, but
right.
There. And we do have boundaries to set. We do allow others to speak, and it's very, very important. And the thing we do most is we step back, take a breath, and realize where we're at. And that's what we get triggered and we don't do that.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but we're there.
right.
We recognize it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. That's true. And I think part of the triggering is for us is that you know, for me, I recognize myself in, you know, in the past what I used to do and to think I knew the answer, not realizing that I was actually disrespecting the other person, you know, because they're doing it their way. It is their journey. You know, they're sharing it with me. Now I recognize it. So when it's done to me, I get triggered and, you know, so it's a good thing because I recognize, you know, where I used to be and where I am now. And
I think that's so great now.
well, it is. And it's also a reminder for me to be patient, you know, because everybody is on their journey at their own pace and everybody will get there. You know, we're all going to get there
It's true.
exactly when we're supposed to, exactly when we need to get there, we will.
I just read something about that. No matter the mess, no matter the problems, and no matter how many ways we try it, we're all going to get to the same place.
Yes.
And it's where we're meant to be. So why worry about it?
Right.
Yeah. You know, and it's true.
So part of the, you know, part of the lesson for me is to, when I get triggered, because it will happen, you know, we're human. That's how this all works. It's how we learn and get triggered. Is to see how quickly I can turn it around and not allow it to get to me. You know, and to set my boundaries. And I don't even need to actually verbalize the boundaries all the time.
That's right. If you set them within your mind. Mm-hmm.
Right. I set my boundary. And if I choose to walk away from, you know, something, then I walk away from it and bless them and, you know, send them love and it's all good. You know, I don't need to. It used to be like in therapy, it was like, oh, well, you should confront this person and you should talk to them and you should tell them how you feel. And I'm thinking, do I really have to tell them how I feel? Only if I want to continue with a relationship with them, then yes. You know, then yes, you do need to open up the line of communication. But like I said, I'm finding my tolerance level for that. You know, they come into your life, maybe they're not supposed to be there that long. You know, and that's part of it as well. So you thank them for You don't say it to their face because,
They won't understand.
well, they might not, they might, that opens up a whole other can of worms,
Yeah.
but to just, express your gratitude in your mind to them, because everybody is here doing something good for somebody else. They're in your life for a reason. What is that? Reason, season, lifetime. People are some are in for a reason, some are in for a season, some are in for your whole life.
Mhm.
So to recognize that not everybody's going to stick around, for
That was one of the books that I recommended in class was The Circle of Friendship. And it did circles and how people came in and out, and you actually put their names in and you moved them as they came in, because people do come in and out for a certain reason. And once that purpose is served, they'll go out and they may come back 6 years later,
right.
but there's something else then. And I can't find the book and I'm so upset. I've got it packed someplace. But I thought it was a great book because my daughter was having problems with her friends. They'd be great friends for a week, and then all of a sudden, she was the worst person in the world. And then that's why I got the book. And then I started reading it, and it just fit.
Yeah.
Well, when it's right, I'll find the book again and I'll tell you the name, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about now.
Yes. And for me, I'm such a, people pleaser kind of person that I don't want to, offend anybody. And so my boundaries have been weak. And so I'm working on setting my boundaries, and actually not just setting them, but enforcing them. That's the big trouble for me, is to enforce it. Like, oh my gosh, wait,
I have to do that.
exactly. So for me, it's a wonderful learning experience to enforce that, however that may look. So it's good for everybody to kind of, like you said, to sit back, take a step back from whatever situation has got you, triggered and wanting to do something you shouldn't do, or say something you shouldn't say. Pause, take a step back, and recognize the divinity in that other person.
Yes.
Recognize their divinity and how divine they are in that moment and what they're doing. Whether they recognize it or not doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's whether you recognize it. And when you recognize that this person is doing something to help you along, you can recognize the divinity in that person, thank them in your mind, and gratitude, and then let that go and move on.
It brought a whole different avenue when you were saying that. You know how when people say, if they said something about you, they didn't mean it as a derogatory remark. It's how you interpreted it. So it's the same scenario. They're giving you all this advice and we're saying, no, 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 when they're just talking.
Oh, right.
And we have to be able to just let it go. And that's very hard to do because we're opinionated.
Well, and we're a human, we're
That's a better way of putting it.
we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and this is why we came here, so that we can have these experiences. And by experiences, I was thinking about this earlier today too. There's my window where my desk sits here early in the morning, like first thing in the morning. There's a particular time of day when the sun hits the window and the tree just so, in just such a manner that it looks like a beautiful fairy realm. I mean, there's just something about the energy of that particular moment, and it only lasts maybe 10-15 minutes at the most. but I just love, and I love sitting there. Now that experience is mine, and it's unique to me, and I love that. And that experience was given to me. It was given to me by, the universe, by my angels, by, everything. And so when I look at nature, through my eyes, that's a unique divine gift that only I see and only I perceive it that way. So each experience is also the same with people. And if I can get to that point where I look at each person and see the divine within them, that's where the peace and the beauty comes.
That's beautiful, because that's exactly what it was. And that's what nature is meant to be, to bring you into the veil. So the veil is there for you, what you see. When even you walk and you look at a tree, not particularly a time, but that tree speaks to you. And that's how we have to see the human element.
Right.
And that's beautifully stated. And that's spot on. That's exactly right.
So it's a matter of, it's a matter of perspective, but it's also a matter of, again, recognizing the
Acknowledge
divine
it.
within ourselves, and then seeing it in everything else around us.
I agree.
So with
That was good.
I thought it went well. I thought that
I
went
do.
well, but it was a good topic, very good topic. So I think I'm complete with that. How about you?
I am too.
Okay, so with that, everyone, I will once again remind you all to be gentle with yourself and to be kind to yourself, and to remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.